guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Tia. If you are new here, if you're not, then welcome back. I feel like whenever I film, I'm always in pajamas and sort of like no makeup because I always film in the evenings and it's always after I've had like my bath and done my skincare. I have just put on a tiny bit of mascara so I don't look completely dead. Grab a snack, grab a drink, let's get comfy because we're going to go through my April reading wrap up. I'm also going to go through the books I had on my TBR last month and see what we read, what we didn't read, how we did basically. Spoiler alert, I didn't get through all of them because you'll see why, guys. I've already done my May TBR prompt jar already, so that's already on my channel, which you can watch. I will link in the description below as well. Let's go through what's on my TBR, what I read, and then we'll do what I thought about each book as we go. So the first book that was on my TBR that I chose for myself actually was Praise by Sarah Kate, and it's part of the Salacious Players Club. I did actually read this, so tick win. Then we had Powerless, which my friend Hannah and Shanice actually picked out for me. I went American then, actually picked out for me. I did read this, more to come on that. Then I had Binding 13, which again Shanice told me to read. I didn't get to this one though, unfortunately. Then my friend Hannah chose The Day Shelley Woodhouse Woke Up. Sorry, it was a bit of a mouthful. I didn't get to read this either. She also picked Home Is Where the Bodies Are. Again, I didn't get to this. I just wasn't in the mood for thrillers, so that's why I didn't read those two. And the final book was First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, and I did read this one. So without further ado, let's get into the books I read. So I actually read 15 books this month, which was really, really good, I think. Yeah, I feel like that's a good book month. The first book I read was The Christmas Tree Farm, which is part of the Dream Harbour series by, I don't know why I'm moving my hands so much, by Laurie Gilmore. I gave this a 3-star, like it was a cute small town romance, but there was just a lot of miscommunication that I didn't love. And although like Bennett was cute cinnamon roll golden retriever vibes, yeah, it just wasn't my fave. Like, I get that the female main character was quite I want to say her name's Kira, was quite like independent. I'm gonna stop moving my hands, guys, I'm so sorry. Didn't want no help from she does it again, didn't want any help from Bennett, but occasionally it just sort of like, even though it burnt her own butt basically, yeah, I just thought, girl, like, know when to accept help, like, come on. I then read Twisted Hate, which was a 4-star for me. So this was actually when I first started tabbing, so there's literally like only 4 tabs in there. You will see as we go on, like this is obviously the month I started tabbing, so as we go on there's a lot more tabs in different books. I loved this book. The tension between Jules and Josh is insane. Yeah, the tension between Jules and Josh is like something else. It is pure hatred, passion, and I'm here for it. Like, I would really recommend reading the other books and series because otherwise you're just going to get spoilers, and yeah, I feel like it's going to be best. But basically Jules is Ava's best friend and Josh is Ava's brother. So this is a best friend's brother or sibling's best friend, however you want to read it. And this is so good. They literally have one night of like pure hatred, passion, and decides to be like a enemies with benefits type deal. And the way 2 words broke my heart in this, I loved this, guys. And I've heard Twisted Lies is even better, so I cannot wait to get around to reading that. My next book was then Two Birds, One Stone by Stevie Sparks. This was actually an ARC at the time. This is out now on Kindle Unlimited though, so you can get your hands on this. I rated this 4 stars, and it was purely 4 stars for the smut. Like, this is about 20% plot and 8% smut, but the 20% plot basically is like, it leads into the 8% smut, does, like, if that makes sense. You have to read it to find out. This is actually part of an interconnected series. I've not read any of the others, but I love this one. Like, not the tension, but like the heat, like the spicy scenes, but like spicy. It is a male female male like book, so if you're not into that, then this is not going to be for you. This was my first one I've actually read and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I then read Where's Molly by HD Carlton. This was a 3-star. I really recommend reading like Haunting and Hunting Adeline before this, because otherwise you won't know who Molly is. It's hard to like without giving it away, but in Hunting Adeline she wrote a diary, and basically this is her story after she got out of the situation that she was put in. I really liked Cage, like very, I don't know, like cutesy, like will protect her anything vibes. There was a bit of like blood play in this, and that wasn't like for me. I think that's why it sort of got rated a little bit lower, I suppose. But it is like a dark romance, so like go into that knowing that, and also read the trigger warnings before you do. I then read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I rated this a 4 stars. I absolutely ate this up. Like I said, this is the one that my friend Hannah said for me to read, and I really wanted to read it because obviously like it was at the time, it was like a newish release, and I didn't have high expectations, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a bit cheesy. I think it's based off of Sleepless in Seattle, like the film, but basically Aidan is a radio host for like a love like radio show, and he's been doing it for so many years that he's basically fallen out of love. Like all these stories that people tell, people come in like calling in, he just doesn't believe in love anymore. And Lucy, the female main character, her daughter calls in for her mum because she's been single since the kid was born basically, and she thinks her mum's lonely, and she obviously chats to Aidan, not for very long because Lucy comes in, takes over the call basically, like all the show basically goes viral, and she becomes like a guest co-host on it, and obviously there's like a lot of tension between her and Aidan. But the main thing is like he keeps a list of all the things that she likes in his glove box in his car so that he doesn't forget. Sorry, that is just so cute. And this was like a slow burn, guys. Then I went on a bit of a journey. So I started Powerless by Lauren Roberts because my friend Anna told me to. There's a lot of annotations there, but because I matched it with the book, you can't actually see them properly. I loved this. This was my new favourite book. 5 star, like more than 5 stars, 6 star. I devoured this. Like this was so good. It basically follows Peyton Gray, who is an ordinary. So like in a world full of like elites who have powers, she's an ordinary. The elites basically kill anyone that is ordinary because they feel like they have a disease, and she sort of has to pretend that she has a power. So she goes with the power of like psychic because it's the easiest one to sort of like fake. And she saves the prince unexpectedly and gets thrown into like these trials, which basically like Hunger Games vibes. And her and Kai's tension and banter, definitely a slow burn, guys, like a slow burn. But Kai Azar is like book boyfriend. Like the words that come out of this guy's mouth is it will have anyone like foaming at the mouth. Like he was so dreamy. This book also broke me. I cried, yeah. But I loved it. And then it took me on to the next book. I couldn't get enough, so I had to continue reading the series, and so I read Powerful. This is just a little novella by Lauren Roberts, so it follows Adina and Mac. I can't really say more than that because it has like it is a massive spoiler for Powerless basically. Otherwise, this had me sobbing on the floor. Like this was literally heartbreaking. Like, even thinking about it now, I rate this 4 stars because it was a novella. I feel like I couldn't give it 5 just because it was obviously so short, but I loved this. And like I said, I went on like a little reading tangent of needing to be like in this series. I needed to transport into it. You don't understand. So then of course I went into Reckless, again trying to match the vibes by Lauren Roberts. Of course the Powerless trilogy continues. I liked this. I rated this a 3 star. Like, it wasn't my favorite. I feel like we were on basically a really long road trip of following Kai and Peyton, and there were parts I really love, especially like the poppy field. Oh, you know that's probably why there's poppies here. I just realised that. Can't cope. Plot twist at the end as well. Again, when it's obviously like continuing of series and not like standalone books, it's physically like a trilogy, you can't really say much without giving it away. But just know this whole series will have you in a chokehold, will have you foaming at the mouth, falling on the floor. you need to read it. I then didn't continue with Fearless. Fearless had come out I think as I'd started the books, but I didn't have it in my hands yet, so we didn't go on to Fearless. We decided to have a little palette cleanser. I had it ordered, it hadn't come yet. So we went on to Wildest Dreams, which had just come out a couple of days prior to me reading this, I think, by LJ Shen. I love this. I ate the first book up. I only rated it a 3-star because I feel like there was a lot of like miscommunication in parts of it, but it is fake dating, enemies to lovers, forced proximity, brother's best friend, which is one of my favorite tropes if you know me. And it was just like a fun steamy time. Like there wasn't like a major plot there apart from like obviously the fake dating thing, but it was a good time nonetheless. And I don't have it here, but you can see up here the cover is absolutely stunning. The next book I read was Changes. This one, my friend Elizabeth Jeffrey actually wrote this, who I met through my friend Hannah through BookTok, and like obviously I had to read it. Like Hannah had been telling me about this book before I even knew like she was friends with Elizabeth, to be honest. And this is like a lichen werewolf type book. So Hannah goes into a new town, basically is on the move, and weird things start happening, and she's sort of like thinking it's werewolves, and it's lichens. I don't really know much about lichen or werewolf like lore to know sort of like the major differences. This book was really good. Like I was on the edge of my seat. I was not seeing the plot twists. I only gave it a 3-star, and hear me out, let me tell you why. It was a really good book, really well written. I'm just not into werewolves that much. I think werewolves are just like not as for me. Will I be reading the second book when it comes out? Of course, like I'm gonna read it. I'm wanting to know what happens, and also I want to support Elizabeth. But yeah, werewolves are just not for me, and that's okay. But it is a really, really good book, and it is really well written. And I think even if you don't like werewolves, like you will still enjoy this book. Then I read another arc. This was Deeply Examined by Lexi Davis. This is like a medical romance, or a dark medical romance, sorry. I rated this a 3.5 stars. The spice starts from chapter 1, guys. Like he is a doctor. I don't think he's specifically a gynecologist. I think he is a doctor that just does all body examinations. And he basically knew her in high school, used to be obsessed with her, and she comes in for a full body check, and things get a little bit steamy when he does the thing down below, but he tries to pass it off as like an exam. Like you have to read it to know. But I was literally like, oh my god, I had to keep stopping and was like to my partner, I was like, oh my god, like this is what's happening, like can you believe this? It's a dark romance, guys. Like there is medical stuff which isn't my thing in there, but it was a fun good time. So we learn why Adam is the way that he is. So it had a lot of depth there. And I also love the fact that Jessica like stood up for herself. Like she was actually like, actually what you're doing is not okay. Like I feel like you don't get that. People are just like, oh, you're morally grey, like okay, makes sense. But she actually was like, hold up, back the fuck up, let me reevaluate. Fearless then came, so I read that, absolutely loved it. 5-star. The yearning in this from Kai, like oh, I just can't cope. Like the yearning was just something else in this book. We also got to see Mac again, which was you know, and then my heart broke. I was jaw dropped on the floor reading this. I could not believe what Lauren had given us and then what she had taken from us. I was literally in shock reading this, and again it's the last one in the trilogy, so I can't really say much without giving it away, but just know, like, if you're reading this and you're invested as much as me, this is going to break your heart. I then needed a palette cleanser after the heartbreak, so I went in with it. Clearly I enjoyed it way too much. A fun smutty number. I went with Praise, which was on my TBR by Sarah Kate. It's the Salacious Players Club, as I mentioned earlier. I gave this a 3-star. If you've got a praise kink, this is the book for you. This is ex-boyfriend's dad. Yep. Dom sub situation, and it is funny. Like there is so many funny parts in this book too. Like even just one of the first couple of chapters, basically here the dad owns like a saucy club type thing. She wants to get her deposit back, and her ex-boyfriend says, well, my dad's got it, like he was the guarantor, he's got it, you need to go to him. So she goes to him. He mistakes her, thinking she's there for another reason, to be a sub. She isn't. So it's a little bit awkward. Eventually ends up working for him, and yeah, one thing leads to another. Then I picked up the hype. Thought, how bad can this be? Fourth Wing. Can you see how many tabs I did? Oh my god, you can't even see. I loved this book. This book not broke me, but like it made me feel so many emotions, like I cannot even explain. It's basically about dragons and Xaden. And let me tell you, Xaden is number one. Xaden is everybody's book boyfriend. If you've not heard about Xaden, where have you been? Like, he was all over TikTok, especially when Onyx Storm came out. I know I'm late to the bandwagon, but I'm on the bandwagon now and I'm joining the bloody hype. At this up. This follows Violet and Xaden, and wow. Wow, let me tell you, I don't want to spoil it, but basically she gets thrown into like the Rider Squadron and has to bond a dragon. That is basically the whole ordeal of going into the Rider Squadron. And yeah, and Xaden is just mama, he is hot. This is 5-star. This overtook Paulus. This is my new favourite book of the whole entire year. I am currently reading Iron Flame, so that will be in next month's wrap up. I only have a little bit left, and I have seen spoilers of that and Onyx Storm, so I know what's coming, kind of, and I'm not ready for it, so don't talk to me. Clearly after that book, my final book, I needed a palette cleanser. Again, I matched the tabs to the spray head, so pretty. But it was the Christmas, no it's not, I'm lying. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore in the Dream Heart series. This is the newest one that's come out. There is another one coming out in September, which I cannot wait for because I need to know about Annie and Mac's story. But basically this follows Iris and Archer. Iris is hired as a nanny from Archer, who is a newly single dad. Not newly single, but like he's single and he's newly a dad, if that makes sense. And obviously there's like forced proximity, yearning, all the things, a spicy kitchen scene. It was only a 3-star, but it was a good time. It was what I needed as a palette cleanser after Fourth Wing. And that is all the books that I read. I feel like I rambled a lot in this one. I'm really, really sorry about that. But thank you for watching. But I had a good reading month, guys. Like, I found my new favourite book series, Paulus, and then it got overtaken by Fourth Wing. Like, I did not think that was going to happen. This was my first time reading fantasy as well. I love a fantasy TV series, but I'd never delved into a fantasy book. So I'm pleasantly surprised. And I'm hoping it's only up from here, but we shall see.